Welcome. What you're about to watch is a recording from a live call that we did last week. These calls are not intended as financial advice, and they are simply meant to be educational only. Your situation is unique to you, and we want to be able to provide education for the consumer to understand what different options they have available. So this video is not intended as individual financial advice. If you have questions, make sure you leave them in the comments below, and we'll make sure we can do our best to get to those and answer those. And as always, if you have specific questions that are unique to you that you want answered for your position, for where you are, you can always schedule a call with myself or someone from the team just by using the links in the comments below. So enjoy the video. It's absolutely free. And check out the description if you want to register for next week's live Wealth Wednesday. Enjoy. So it's good to have everybody here. Today is another Wealth Wednesday. We're going to talk about how to control your wealth, how to protect yourself from creditors, how to replace your own bank, how to avoid unnecessary taxation, how to control your wealth for the rest of your life, how to control what your kids inherit. And this is not a get rich quick webinar. This is a get rich smart webinar. What I teach is not how to get wealthy quick, but it will teach you how to not go broke. And I give you permission then to take risk that you see fit in whatever you're good at, whether that's business, real estate, Bitcoin, whatever it might be. So it's good to have everybody here again. If you're just joining, open up that chat box. Let me know where y'all are calling from. What's up, Doug? David John, good to see you. Kay Peters, what up, everybody? Robert, what's up, dude? If I know who you are. We're gonna get more and more people on these calls. And I don't know how you change your name. What does my name say? Yeah, so my name says Matt Love. If you guys want to add your last names to your profile, it might help understand who you are. Robert, this might be some repetition for you, my friend, but it's good to have you here if you're the Robert that I'm thinking of. And of all the things I mentioned I want to talk about today, what's up, Doug from Indy? I am if something stuck out, replacing your bank, maximize retirement, control your wealth, avoid the IRS. Tell me what you're most interested in. I'm going to go ahead and get started, but tell me what you're most interested to make so I know that I will make sure that I cover that topic. And I'm going to share my screen so that you can see my wonderful drawings. I have a master's in architecture, $100,000 degree, so I can draw pictures on an iPad. Regarding financial stuff. Makes sense. Totally makes sense. Why wouldn't it make sense? There we go. Hi. Technology, great. All right, everybody, I'm going to ask you a question. Before we get started, I want to take a poll of the room, and I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to draw a circle. Now, this circle, some people call it a circle of wealth. Let's say that this circle represents all of the stuff that you own, all of your assets. Some people's circles are larger than others. I'm going to draw a pie slice. You tell me how much of your wealth do you want off the radar screen of the IRS for income tax purposes? Where should I draw that second circle? Put a 110. Where should I draw this line? Where's the second line for you? And you can tell me by the time of a clock, 3 o'clock would be here. Do you want all this off the radar screen? How much of your wealth would you want off the radar screen? 12. John, are you saying draw a line at 12? So 50%? All that off the radar screen? Kay Peters, 90. So Kay Peters is getting greedy. He and Gina would get along. He wants 90% of his wealth off the radar screen. And this is what he wants to give to the government. Doug, I like where you're thinking. Kay Peters wants to fund the government. Wealthy need to pay their fair share. I get it. Here's what I want you to remember. I'm not teaching tax evasion. I want to teach tax avoidance, which is legal. That's why there's 70,000 pages in the tax code to teach you how to not pay taxes. The tax code is written to how to utilize methods and strategies that can avoid unnecessary taxation. So 6%, a couple people saying 6%. So you want all of it. Let's say all of it off the radar screen or 100% off the radar screen. Let me ask you one more question. How much of your wealth do you want liquid? Which means accessible. How much money do you want to be able to have access to? Tell me where to draw the line. 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. All of it, Gina? All of it. Look, if you're on this call, you're probably entrepreneurial minded. You're curious about what other strategies exist that your financial advisor. Oh, Kay Peters, it's a she. Sounds good, Kay. I'm going to call you Kay then. All of it. See, now you guys are talking. Now this is my language. All of your money. How dare you ask for all of access to all of your money before retirement age? How dare you? What financial advisor is teaching you that type of strategy? They're not. They're teaching you what? What do they say that everybody needs to have? If you want to retire someday, what do you need? You need a retirement account. Well, here's the thing. You don't need a retirement account to retire. You need money. More importantly, you need cash flow. That's why I call my company Cash Flow Architects, designing cash flow. The problem is this: the retirement account is what people think that they need. So if you're on this call, you might be interested in this. How do you have 100% control of your assets and not sharing any of it with the IRS? Who here likes creditor protection? Anybody ever been sued? That's not fun going to court. Sorry, Doug. I'm sure you have some stories. You probably had some experience, and experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. Yeah, if you have money in different types of assets, it could be exposed to creditors. Well, I want to show you how to hide your money from creditor too. Okay, let's talk about my second favorite four-letter word, debt. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to stop me, ask it in the chat box. I don't like talking to myself. There's a way, if somebody wants to raise their hand and say something, I think I can unmute you too. So my second favorite four-letter word, debt. Let's do this. Let's say you need to borrow $10,000. If you need to borrow $10,000, let's say it's 2008. John hates debt. Love it. Let's say it's 2008 and you have to borrow 10 grand. And you go to the banks, and the banks aren't lending money anymore because they're upside down on all of the real estate that they held. So they're not lending money to consumers. They're getting bailed out by the taxpayer. They're not helping the taxpayer. So you need 10 grand and you can't go to the bank. So you come to me. You just found me on Facebook or whatever. And you say, Matt, I got to borrow $10,000. Cool. I'd be happy to give it to you as a loan because I want to be paid back. Now listen to the way I say this. I say, I'm going to give you the $10,000 as a loan, but there's two things that you're going to be interested in. Number one is, what am I going to charge you? And how quickly do I want to be repaid? Those are the two things that most people care about a loan. So you come to me, ask for the 10 grand. I'm like, cool, I'll give you 10 grand. And you know what? I'm having a good year. I don't even want to slow down to calculate what I want to charge you for an interest rate. Take the money. Eventually, maybe 10, 20 years from now, at that point, I might want my money back. And at that point, I'll determine, what am I going to charge you as an interest rate proactive to when you took the money? And how quickly do I want to be repaid? Here, take the $10,000. We'll figure out the details later. Yes or no? Does that sound like a good business plan? In the comments, yes or no? Is that a good business, frugal business decision? And I need a Red Bull. It's been a day. Toughest part about these meetings, 4 o'clock, long day. Doug, don't cash that check. Heck no, don't cash that check. Most people, if they didn't know how much they would owe on a loan, and they didn't know the terms in which they needed to be the loan needed to be repaid, they wouldn't take the loan to begin with. Who here, and I don't, we're all friends here, okay? Nobody knows our true names even. With a yes or no, who here has funded a qualified retirement account like a 401k, IRA, or SEP IRA? Yes or no? You guys know why that's so popular in the industry? If you want me to spend 5 minutes on this in a minute, I will tell you why it's so popular as a financial tool, because the financial industry pushes it like crazy. If you want me to go over why, from a capitalistic, objective perspective, I will show you why. But think about this, guys. Is that money off the radar screen of the IRS? No. When you take money out, you get a 1099 taxed as ordinary income. You get tax on Social Security in retirement, Medicare costs, state tax, depending on where you live, all sorts of taxation, 100% ordinary income. It's not off the radar screen of the IRS. Is it accessible? Everybody got excited when we talked about using our money. Heaven forbid you put your money in a place you can use it before retirement years. Is the money in a 401k accessible? No. You can't even calculate how much you're going to owe in taxes, and you don't control the terms. You don't even really know what they are because the rules can change. If you take money out of a qualified account before the age of 59 and a half, chances are you're going to be penalized on that. 10% penalty plus income tax. If you have money in those accounts at the age of 72, the government comes along and says, look, you have what's called an RMD. You are required to take money, required minimum distribution. By the way, if you mess that up, you're going to owe a 50% penalty plus ordinary income tax. 50% penalty plus ordinary income tax. Every person on the call, Paul has a question. Great, Paul. If you don't mind, ask it in the chat box. If that doesn't work, maybe I can figure out how to oh wait, maybe you asked it. Paul, ask it in the chat box. Oh, no question. Okay, cool. We want control over our money. We want it off the radar screen of the IRS. We want to do what we want with it. Yet we're funding accounts. We can't even calculate the debt that's due. We have no idea how much of our wealth we're going to share with the IRS. But we hope the pile, gets bigger or smaller? Hell no, we want that pile, that people want that qualified account to be huge. You know who else wants to, if I'm not going to talk if I don't need to, if anybody wants to understand why, I'll go into that. If not, I'll skip it. You want to know why that this has became such a popular tool for retirees, I'd be happy to go into that, but somebody type in why, otherwise I'm going to keep going. So people would never take a loan where they can't calculate the interest, and you wouldn't take a loan when you can't control the terms. Okay, Kay. All right, Kay, let's do it. Let me give you an example. I'm going to go over numbers here, but I hope this is easy to follow. 1988, the highest tax bracket was 28%. Thank you, Ronald Reagan. At the time, you would have physicians, attorneys, they would have private practice, they would have big pension funds. And you could put a bunch of money into this pre-taxed, just like a 401k, SEP, IRA, all of those things. So let's say they put in $1 million at the advice of their CPA. CPAs look backwards, they don't look forward. You need a tax strategist, not a CPA. Let's say they put $1 million at the advice of the CPA, and the CPA lies to them and says, look, if you do this, I'm gonna erase some of this. You're going to save $280,000 roughly of tax. And then the CPA says, look, if you fund a SEP IRA, you're not going to pay tax. You're going to save all this in tax. If you fund a 401k, you're going to save tax. If you fund the pension fund, you're going to save tax. It's not a tax savings. It is not a tax savings. It's a tax postponement. You're just delaying it. Who here thinks tax rates are going to be low in 20 years? Give me right low or high. Well, they're going to be taxes going to be lower or higher in 20 years. Higher. I agree. Higher. I agree. Okay, so here's what happens. The CPA lies and says you're going to save $280,000 in taxes, and it's easy to prove that it's a lie. Take the money out. If they were to change their mind and pull this amount of money out the next day, let's say they pull that out the next day, $280,000 would go to the IRS. It's not a tax savings. It's in the plan. So the CPA says, I'm going to save you taxes. And by the way, you need a financial advisor. So here's why, Kay. You need a financial planner to manage that account because we should probably invest it. In order to succeed, you need Wall Street. So let's go invest it. And by the way, I got a great financial advisor. Wears a $3,000 suit, very well dressed. He's going to guess, but he's going to put you in some stuff into the market. He's going to charge you what? He's going to charge you a fee. How long do the fees go? Forever. As long as the account's open. Okay, does it always go higher? No, it doesn't always go higher. It does go higher with inflation, but whoever's in office determines who's going to, or what the rates will be. But there's something interesting. We could do a whole meeting on this. I could keep the rates the same. So let's say the highest tax bracket's 40%, but you have to make, $500,000 to be in that tax bracket. Well, I could keep tax rates at 40%, but if I lowered the threshold to 250, now anything above 250 is at the 50% tax rate. I didn't change the tax rate. I changed the margin, the levels at which it triggers the different marginal rates, but I kept the tax rates the same. So it's a very political game, very political game. But if you want to make more money and you want your account value to grow, and you think taxes are going to go higher, what's the exit strategy here? So here's what happens. The CPA says, I'm going to introduce the advisor. They're going to charge you the fee forever. And if you guys were a financial advisor and you're charging fees for account balances, do you want those account balances to be high or low? High. So of course, the financial planning industry, this isn't the financial planner's fault. Wall Street knows what they're doing. They have some lobbyists up in Washington. In the 70s and 80s, they really blew up this idea of the 401k because the employer got out of the pension. So they said, we're going to match your 401k, but we're going to push the pension idea onto the consumer, the employee. You take the risk now and the responsibility of funding your retirement because businesses just couldn't keep up. And it became a massive cash grab for the financial advisors because they could then charge a fee on the gross amount invested. Knowing full well if the consumer said, look, we changed our mind, this amount would go to the IRS and the account manager would only be managing $720,000. That's a 28% pay raise to manage pre-tax accounts. This is why the financial industry loves retirement plans. They know you're not going to take the money out until you're 60. They know you're not going to take much out because you don't want to be taxed at a higher tax bracket, and you're not going to spend all that. It is a stream of revenue for the financial advisors for forever, and it becomes the advisor's retirement account because that's an asset that they can sell. They can sell their book of business. So if someone's 70, they want to sell, they're managing $100 million portfolio, they'll sell the portfolio management to another advisor, and the consumer just gets a letter, hey, I'm retiring, meet my young protege. They're great, they're wonderful, they're going to guess just as well as I did on your accounts and what to invest in. I'll introduce you. And then the consumer doesn't know any better. They're still not taking money out. The buyer of that asset, the buyer of that portfolio, just bought an income stream. This is how fees work. I'm not even talking about the middlemen, the mutual fund fees. There's so many fees that come out of this. So anyway, you're funding an account, you don't have any idea how much you could take out. So let's go back to this example in 1988, tax savings. What's the highest, today's 2024. My gosh, I cannot believe it's almost the end. The highest tax bracket is 40%. Let's say the money didn't grow. If I pulled $1 million out today, how much tax would be due, essentially? What tax bracket am I in? How much would go to the IRS? I would probably have other income outside of whatever I pull out. So you're looking at a $400,000 tax bill. Who got the better rate of return? You put in $1 million and you take out 600. The IRS allowed you to postpone 280 and now they get paid 400. Who got the better rate of return, you or the IRS? I wish I could see people's faces. You or the IRS, who got a better rate of return? Not seeing any comments here. IRS, government, you got it. Guys, it gets worse. What are the odds of the account value not growing? It better grow. They gave up use of it for 40 years, 35, whatever it is. It better be growing. So let's say it's worth 2 million. Are you happy? Go like this. Is your advisor happy? Very. Why? Because they're charging you a fee on 2 million. And how much have you spent? 0. Commies. $2 million in the account now. Your advisor is stoked and he's saying, look at how good I am. I doubled your account value. You've paid no taxes. I'm getting a fee on the 2 million. And I know full well if you take out $2 million from the pre-tax account, how much you're going to owe? $800,000 in taxes. Who got the better rate of return? $1 million, $1 million postponement turns into 1.2, or 280 turns into 800. Who got the better rate of return? The commies. Look, I believe in paying taxes. I want to pay my fair share. I just don't want to pay more than my fair share. And if I can get somebody to explain what wealthy is and what fair share means, I would love to understand it better. Until then, I just want to know the rules of the game. And that is this: the government doesn't tax the rich. They tax your ability to get rich. And the 401k is a massive scam to think you have money in an account when the consumer knows full well if you were to pull, or the advisor knows full well if you were to pull the money out, you're not keeping nearly as much as what you think. And then when you're gone, your spouse gets it as a single taxpayer. And then when you're both gone, it goes to your kids, and then your kids have to take all the money out over 10 years on top of their ordinary income. You're not passing on a legacy, you're passing on a tax liability. It's a horrible way to spend money. It's a horrible way to save money. It's a horrible way to spend money in retirement. It's a horrible way to create a legacy. Thank you, John. John, do we know each other? Have we met? I don't know if I know you. We'll talk about it later. Billinger, holy smokes, what's up, dude? Good to have you on the call. Okay. What if Hillary got in? Her tax rate was 50% that she was talking about. So your 2 million would give you back the 1 million. Now 1 million goes to the government. That's what it is. Okay. So everybody on the call, if you're still funding these retirement accounts, you are funding an account that you hate debt. You're funding an account that you have no idea how much you're going to spend. Doug, you're exactly right. Guys, everybody said they wanted money. off the radar. They want it liquid. They want it creditor protected, unless you live on the left coast, which a lot of different laws out there. What if you can have guaranteed growth? What if you could use this as collateral to banks? You want to go buy a 401 cottage, a house, real estate, where you actually get true deductions, depreciation, and enjoyment with lifestyle, and you want to use the bank's money to go do it? Hello, what if you could use an account? What if you could create something that was off the radar screen, you could use as collateral, guaranteed growth, doesn't offset what you're entitled to, Social Security or Medicare? And what if you could put as much money as you wanted into it? This exists. Violetta, thank you for being here. I will make sure you get a copy. No worries. And I honestly am stoked to come see you. I'm thinking first week of September, by the way. Is this good so far? Violetta loves it. I know that. She's working. She's listening while she's working. Saving lives. Dr. Violetta. Give me some feedback. Let me know. Good, bad, question. Okay, is this making sense? Thank you. The new book is great. I had a lot of help writing it. A lot of help writing it. Does everybody know the idea of gross versus net? John, you're gonna like this. You'll giggle. I'm this is all audible based on what you guys are telling me, what you're reacting to, and this is something that I didn't know for a long time. I didn't know the difference between a gross account value versus a net account value. And here's how I learned how to distinguish between the two. Gross is the big number. Net what you keep. Here's my example. If you've ever had a paycheck, you make when I was working at W2, you make $1,000 a week. That was my paycheck. And then you had all these little lines, FICA, state, Medicare, all, everything, payroll tax, Social Security, all this stuff. And then there was a number that got deposited into my account. Well, the $1,000, that big number, that was the gross number. The amount that got deposited into my bank account, that was the net number. It was gross to look at how big that number was. And I got my little net, and whatever I could keep is what I actually put in my account. So it's gross to look at the big number, and whatever I can, with my little tiny net, whatever I can keep over here, whatever I put in my net, that's what I get to deposit. That's how you know the difference. And the financial industry teaches you how to chase account value, not cash flow. Why? Do you know of an advisor getting paid off of cash flow? Other than the IRS? IRS gets paid off of cash flow, depending on where it comes from. That's the goal, is to minimize that, which you can do. Thank you, IRS, if you're listening. We appreciate building roads. I just don't want to overpay you, not unlike a lot of the politicians that help create the laws that I abide by. Advisors get paid to manage your account value. And if you had a choice to work with an advisor, would you want to focus on account value or cash flow? Type it into the comments. I'm going to look for a link really quick. Pablo, what's up, dude? Pablo, speaking like an entrepreneur. Who's that? What are you? Is there an entrepreneur in the mix now? Pablo is recently an entrepreneur getting invested in real estate and learning the difference between a 1099 and W-2, which, holy smokes, there's a big difference with how much of your profits you share with the government. And I thought of a thesis for my book. I was recording the audiobook. Monday was my last day. And so I kind of gave a synopsis at the end. And man, when you do an audiobook, you realize how much you would change if you could rewrite the book. Holy smokes, I would edit quite a bit. But the thesis for the book is this. God created the world, Genesis 1:1, right? God created heaven and earth. And then later in the same chapter, he said he created man. And I forget the quotes, forgive me, I'm not perfect here. He created us, he created the world, and then he created us in his name. He created us to create. Our job is to create. And as entrepreneurs, we realize that money follows value. So my job is to create value for the world. And as much as you might hate the IRS incentivizes what I just said. They incentivize you to be a good human to society. Yes, we can do it for selfish gain. That's what human nature is. That's why altruism is a joke. Altruism is not, is a scam that hides the ultimate greed of power through this crap of goodwill. It's not true. Society gets better because entrepreneurs have the ability to follow a dream and create something for others. And to prove that it's a good thing for humankind, and that the forefathers, back in the early 1900s, they knew this too. When the IRS was created, there's three ways for you to benefit from the IRS. Number one is business. In business, I can have tons of tax deductions, tax credits, all sorts of ways that the IRS will incentivize me to do certain things with my money. Why? Because business helps the economy. If I can hire 100 people, look at Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. But Bezos says, I forget the numbers, but he said, for example, Amazon's worth, $100 billion and he owns 12%. So he's worth 12 billion. But that's $88 billion of net worth that he created for other people. And he got some tax advantages along the way. If you don't know that, Google it. So when I create business to help the economy, the government says, look, we're going to allow you to, all of the risk that you're taking on and the cost that you incur, we're going to allow you to deduct that off of your ordinary income. Real estate is number two. Real estate, you're going to create housing. You're going to create places for people to work and shop and live. You're going to take risk in building those things. We're going to allow you to deduct those costs. We're going to allow you to deduct the maintenance. We're going to allow you to depreciate the building because we know the building is going down in value. The values in the land. The building is going to lose value, so you can depreciate that and offset your ordinary income. By the way, you want to take care of your family, life insurance, income tax free. We're going to allow you to create a benefit that's tax exempt, income tax exempt, that goes to your heirs if something happens to you. Those are the three areas the government says, look, this is easy. Make the world a better place. Create business, create real estate and places for people to live, work, and grow, which helps the economy, and take care of your family. At some point in history, the government officials did care about family values. It's questionable now. At some point, they did. So those are the three areas that I want to throw money into. Why? Because then I can control it. I do good for other people, and the government incentivizes me to do that. I hope that makes sense. And so that was the thesis of the book, is giving yourself permission to believe what you think you can do, how to follow those dreams, and then how to position your money in a place that you're taken care of. And I'll go over that really quick because we're already 40 minutes in. Oh, and by the way, the ordinary income tax is the highest tax in the tax code. So physicians, attorneys, high income professionals are almost penalized because they're an employee. And the physicians on the call, I think, understand this too. When you have an employee income, you're paying the highest income tax possible. They don't even allow you to deduct costs because you're just showing up and somebody else is providing all of the stuff. So you have safety in the idea that you don't have to create the business. There's no brick and mortar. You don't have the insurance. You don't have all those things. You're just the employee. Well, the government says you're taking no risk. We're going to tax you. The government will never tax the rich. They tax your ability to get rich. So high income individuals, you're paying the worst tax. Now, what a lot of smart high income individuals will do is start a side business and then have a business on the side where they can start capturing all these business deductions and benefits that the IRS allows us to take. And if you're not, then you better start doing that soon. And people on the call, if you want to talk about it, looking at the difference of your income, what from the gross income to the net income after you started an LLC or a business or real estate portfolio, it's astonishing. Okay. So I make income. And before I do, there's basically three things I can do with my money. I can spend it, I can save or invest it, or I can give it away. And what do most people do with their money? They put it into a bank. And then they go into the 401k and the IRA and all the other dumb things that are very passive ways to do it. I have other words I would use. This is a public meeting. Money goes into a bank, earns what? Very low rate of return. It's exposed in a lawsuit. Very little to no outside benefits. But why do I like it? Because it's liquid. I like it because it's liquid. I like having a card that I can use and go grocery shopping. So this is what most people do. And then whatever's left over, they end up, saving more of or investing, which I think is a problem. Because the first money move is in this example, is a wrong move. I want to do one thing. I want to replace the bank. One thing that everybody on this call can do tomorrow. The number one thing to do to start getting control over your assets is replacing the bank and understanding the flow of these three things that I can do with my money. And I want to put it into the biggest life insurance policy that the insurance company will give me. Why? Because I have a competitive internal rate of return. It's protected from creditors, depending on where you live. I have a death benefit where if I die tomorrow, my kids are going to get millions. No amount of 401k that I could have saved in the last 40 years of my life, or 20 years since working, could equal anywhere near the amount of death benefit that my family would get if I passed away tomorrow. You know what that makes me? Haha. Anybody know a word for this? Happy, joyful, fulfilled, proud. My family's taken care of. So now what can I do? Go have fun and take risk. It's the life insurance is liquid, which means what? I go do stuff with it. I have guaranteed growth. It's looked at as collateral. It doesn't offset. All of this goes on and on and on. So before instead of spending time on that, here's how this works. Oops. I make my income. I put my money into a big life insurance policy. Why? Because now I have a death benefit that my family, all my little kids, my family's taken care of. This grows for the rest of my life. Okay, continues to compound. Then I go out and I invest in things like real estate, Paid for by what? 80% of it's paid for from a mortgage company. Here's a thesis. Everybody, let me know the answer in the chat box because I haven't checked in here in about 10 minutes. Chat box. Open up the chat box. What do you think the odds are that people are going to want to sleep inside 20 years from now? What are the odds? 0 to 100. What are the odds that in 20 years from now, people are going to want to sleep inside? %. Pretty sure. I don't want. Have you guys ever been camping? I mean, unless you have a Provost, $200,000 motorhome, your boy's not camping. Maybe for a night. I'm not camping. And so, if I know that people are going to want to sleep inside, and land is a finite resource, why would I make this confusing? I don't need to speculate on all these other things. I don't need to speculate. So why wouldn't I just go buy real estate? It's funny, a stock could go to zero. You ever heard these GM? GM got bailed out by the government. They were going to go bankrupt. The biggest company in the world at one point almost went bankrupt. Stocks can go to zero, yet you're funding your retirement account in an account that can go to zero? Why wouldn't you just buy land or property? Help people live inside, which you enjoy. What? This isn't confusing. So not only that, the government incentivizes it, and banks love it because the banks are going to pay 80% of it, 75% of the house. They'll go buy it. I just put 25% down, funded by what? My life insurance. So I take let's say I take $100,000 out of the life insurance for the down payment over here. If I die tomorrow, my wife gets this house plus the death benefit minus the $100K. She'll be just fine. Multiple millions, tax-free, plus real estate. And if she doesn't want to manage the real estate, guess what? Sell it. Oh, by the way, there's a step up. Gosh, I should do a whole presentation on the 401 cottage. And I've been talking to my parents about this. They have a cottage up in northern Michigan that's worth 7 figures. They don't rent it out. What a mistake. Not because of the rental income potential, but say you rent it out for 2 weeks. Now it's a rental property. Now it qualifies as an STR, short-term rental. Cool, rent it out for enough to cover the $20,000 tax bill. That's going to feel good. However, when the trash compactor breaks, like it did this summer, you got to go buy a $2,000 trash compactor or whatever it is. Wouldn't that be nice if you could deduct the cost for a trash compactor on your rental property? Pablo, you do not have to pay the $100,000 back. It will just come off the death benefit. If you don't pay the interest will accrue in the background, which will also come off the death benefit. If you're young and good looking like we are, then I do want to put the money back into the policy and pay the interest, but it's non-reportable. Meaning it's not like this loan, dude. A mortgage, if you stop paying on your mortgage, they come and take what? They take the whole darn house. Life insurance, they don't care. Doesn't show up on a credit report, doesn't affect your ability to get another loan. They're going to send you a bill for the interest payment. You can ignore it. It will accrue in the background. You do want to pay it, but it's not hurting you in any way. The insurance company is going to continue to let this policy grow even when the loan is outstanding. Bro, you know what buys my properties? My dead self. I'm just leveraging the death benefit while I'm alive. Sorry, honey, you're not going to get 10 million. You're going to get 9 million, and we have 3 more properties. One in Aspen, one in Florida, and one in the mountains. Now I'm lifestyle investing, and the government's incentivizing me to do it. Rates are variable, but they don't change that much. But we do choose variable. If you choose fixed, usually you're like 8%. I mean, even like 8 years ago, it was 8%, so it's not that attractive, but typically, bro, we use variable because I can also, remember up here, I can go to a bank and pledge it as collateral. And here's the best way I'm dropping bombs on this call, people. The best way to get a loan is to prove you don't need one. You go to the banker and say, hey, Mr. Banker, awesome, Kay. Hey, Mr. Banker, I have $100,000 in cash value life insurance. I'd like to go buy a house. I don't want to use my cash value. I want to use your money, Mr. Banker, but I don't want to pay the 8% that you're charging my neighbor. I want to pay you 4%. Now it's up to you to negotiate a lower rate. It's a guaranteed loan backed by collateral. So the banker is taking very little risk, if any. If I default, they take the cash. The difference if I go to the bank, there's monthly payments and all that other stuff. But try and do that with an IRA or 401k. You can't. The minute you post, this is what I've heard, the minute you post your 401 or your IRA as collateral, the IRS says, we're going to assume that you're going to liquidate this, so we're going to send you a tax bill on all of it. Don't take my word for it. Talk to a financial professional. But that sucks. Okay, I'm going on side tracks here. So many fun conversations. So yeah, my parents, so now they rent it out for 2 weeks. They get enough rental income to cover the tax bill, but it's a rental property, so they can deduct all the costs. By the way, there's this little thing called depreciation. And the government knows that land value theoretically is going to go up, but the value of the house is going to dwindle over time. Wood rots, you need a new roof. The value of the building structure is going to go down over time. So they allow you to depreciate or take losses on the building to offset that income or this income. So usually it's around 4%. So do the math on $2 million cottage. How much depreciation how much depreciation could you take in the first year on a $2 million cottage? What's 4% of 2 million? 80K. Bro, that's an $80,000 write-off. 80K. Let's say you made 20K of income renting it, and then you had $10,000 of expenditures. Dude, you're looking at $90,000 of deductions, and you cash flow 20K of income. You can take $70,000 to offset your earned income from your W-2. Guys, 401 cottages. I like 401 cottage. I don't want anybody else to like 401 cottage. So I showed my parents how to have 6 figures worth of savings, and their comment was, wow, that's really cool. Yeah. Amazing. You can go on, each one of these is a topic you can go on forever because everybody's going to be different. And, you know, your unique situation, you could have $1 million property, you could have $100,000 property. I have property in Nashville that hasn't cash flowed yet, but I've enjoyed some tax write-offs. It's not always about the cash flow. It's about what the IRS can do to offset money that would have gone to the IRS. If you've saved 20 grand that you would have given to the IRS, what could you do with it? Whatever you want. So here's what I do with it. Put it in this bucket right here. Oops. Put it in this bucket so it becomes as big as possible so that my family wins if I die. And if they don't die, I can do more of this all day long and then enjoy this. And eventually the cash flow from properties is large enough to not even work any longer. And I do these for free and you guys don't even have to pay me for it. Oh, wait, I already am. Haha. You know how hard it is to make jokes when you're talking to yourself on these calls? It's terrible, dude. It's terrible. All right, everybody, I'm going to put a link. And Kay, I hope you take advantage of this. We have a new offer. The book came out and we're doing a funnel for the book. We're spending money on a marketing funnel, which is going to be great. And so we're doing a bunch of ads and stuff. And we're offering a 90-minute one-on-one strategy session. 90-minute. Because you're on the call, I'm going to do it for free. So if you use that link, use the link that I just shared, set up a strategy call for yourself. If we take 90 minutes, if we don't take all 90 minutes, that's okay. If you want to take more than 90 minutes, depending on how valuable the conversation is, we probably can do that. But I can't imagine, after everything I just shared, if you're into this conversation, I can't imagine not bringing some sort of value to your specific situation. So click the link that I just shared, take advantage of the 90 minutes. Let's find out how to capture money that you don't even know you're losing. Don't even know that you're losing. Look in the chat box, Habiba, it's right there. Oh, you know what, guys? I put it in the wrong thing. See, I'm still new to the webinar stuff. There we go. Awesome, you guys see it now. I was messaging the wrong person, so take advantage of it. We'll go over 90 minutes. There'll be a questionnaire in there, a little bit about like what you have, but we'll be able to dive in. It'll be a Zoom call. I'll share the iPad. We'll talk about what you're doing, and hopefully we can identify a bunch of money that you don't even realize you're just giving away unnecessarily. We'll recapture it, and it's yours. You know why Dave Ramsey got so popular? Gina and John, you'll laugh at this. You know why Dave Ramsey's been able to stay so powerful for 30 years? Because he doesn't make outrageous claims. And hopefully I'm not making outrageous claims here. I'm talking about objective, boring stuff that you need to verify with a financial professional and a tax professional. That's in the disclaimer. But Dave Ramsey has been able to maintain, because he says, look, if you save $2,000 extra a year, you're going to have $2,000 in your savings account. That's it. What he teaches is very simple. Don't spend more than you make, save money. And then he goes into how to invest, which I disagree with 1000%. And hopefully I've proven as to why here on this call. His method's not for everyone. My method's not for everyone. So it's all good, but that's how he's been able to stay so relevant. Because it's true. You save extra money, you're going to have it. Now, where do you save it and how do you deploy it? You know, savings account is better than, you know when a savings account's better than an Amazon stock? When Amazon stock goes down 20% and your savings account gets 0. Sometimes 0% is a really good rate of return. Look at 2020. In 2020, I put money into this bucket, life insurance, and I got a 37% cash on cash rate of return. Same year the S&P market, the S&P 500 did -18. Gosh, that was a good feeling. I put money in, got a 37% rate of return cash on cash. Called the insurance company and said, hey, I want to pull money out. I'm going to buy a house in Nashville. Deployed it to Nashville. And since then, I've gotten tax deductions and my family's taken care of. And the insurance company paid me dividends. And where's the risk? Here's me. Ready? Here's my thesis. There's a rate of return on happiness. And it starts when you start taking control over your wealth and understanding how to take care of the ones that you love and do what you want. Just learn the rules of the game. And hopefully I proved in the beginning of the call, the financial industry is incentivized to keep money in an account, not teach cash flow. That's it, everybody. 54 minutes of talking to myself and a screen. This is crazy stuff, man. John, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate you watching. Hopefully this was good. Kay, thank you so much. Hopefully I'll talk to you on the phone or a Zoom call soon. If I don't get any questions, I'm good. I'm going to let you all go for the evening. Thank you, Paula. Hopefully talk to you soon. Pablo, good to see you, brother. Abiba, good to see you. Doug, I could. Doug, do I know you, Doug? Have we met? Kate, no problem. Hopefully talk to you soon. Doug, have we met? Thanks, James. Doug Peacock, my man. Go to 401cottage.com. There's an ebook. Go to 401cottage.com, download the ebook. But I think that would be a really good deep dive, is the 401 Cottage. It's a good idea. I'll put that on the agenda. All right, everybody. You're the best. If you haven't already, check out The Entrepreneur's Asset on Amazon, or email me at matt@cashflowarchitects.com. I'll send you a link where you can get the audiobook as well. So I'll put my email in here just in case people want it.